it was prior to the creation of even their own constitution. It had to be signed before in order to accept them as a nation. And the irony of this is that Bosnia had to accept the debt of Yugoslavia, who had been the aggressor. The world was not ready to accept a country without debt. So it is what is happening in Greece is that when the debt, which was created by politicians, passing on to the others, debt, no, so they couldn't, in order to make their politics popular, they indebt themselves, so they don't have to charge taxes. They just passed the debt to the next generation or the next lot of people. Naturally, every 4 years this process is repeated. So the new parliament comes into power, the new government now says, well, how I'm going to pay this debt and do the buildings and reforms that I want to undertake. So I indebt myself a little bit further and I pass the ball to the next. And they keep repeating the process until, of course, it reaches a point where the debt is unpayable. And when it reaches this point, then the people find themselves into an ironical situation. We cannot afford it. If we don't pay it, the whole system collapses. So the fear now is put upon the people, saying, if you do not pay, the big thing, the worst thing will ever happen to you. Is a kind of hell on earth is presented to them. A theology of economics is now suddenly put in place, where fear replaces reason. And these people are then forced into paying a debt which is unreasonable and is completely a fantasy, because otherwise everything will go wrong. In the same way that the people of the United States were told, you have to pay, we have to pay these hundreds of billions to bail out the banking industry, because otherwise it will be awful. And that's why, in the same way, the Spanish are being asked to pay 10 billion euros in order to bail out one of the banks, an state bank, because otherwise everything will be awful. So this is fear replacing reason. That's not the only way, because other people who preceded Greece in these issues was Iceland, and they decided not to pay. And nothing happened. The whole world continued. But in the case of Greece, the people are being put on the spot, and something extraordinary has happened, because being forced by these politics of the euro, which it withholds the governments to do what the previous ones do. When the debt becomes unpayable, they devalue the currency, so it becomes payable. This is making the people more poor, but they don't care about that. Since this option is not available to them, the people are really suffering now. And for the first time in history, a critical crisis in Western Europe has taken place. And the result of this is the rising of the extreme right wing, a Nazi party in Greece that has taken about 13 or 14% of the vote. And we have to see on the 15th of June what actually happens. What is relevant of this Nazi party is that this is something we have seen before. When Europe went into the big crisis of the 30s, the rising of fascism, particularly in Germany, which resulted in politicians who do not play the yes, maybe, perhaps, we will try this, we will try the other. They want politicians who, like this right-wing leader in Greece, is saying, we do not pay the debt. We will put all the bankers in jail, and we will chase every politician for every corruption until they are all in jail. This is the message of the right wing in Greece. Surprises? Are you surprised that 25% of the high school, not university, high school students, secondary students, they call it in England, secondary students, 25% support the Nazi Party of Greece. What you are seeing here is the beginning of what is going to happen throughout Europe.